We're back in business. Ryan, look at Ryan pouring that wine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Harley, what are we trying today?
Today we are trying 2011 Vietti Barolo Ravera.
What can you tell us about it?
It's decanted.
It's decanted, which is now our new method for doing this whole process.
Right.
Oh no, I decanted it because it's extremely...
You decant everything.
And it's
I
also
decant
extremely
everything.
young.
Yeah, when I get a glass of water to sip on throughout the day, I decant it before I drink it. Same with coffee. It's actually funny because coffee, there's a lot of people that believe coffee you can when it
decant
gets
coffee.
air and it's sort of
Really?
gets a little cooler. Everything's very temperature
that's true.
sensitive, air sensitive.
Okay, so we're going to test you. Would you decant soda?
Bubbles, yeah. Probably. although the funny thing is that a lot of people, especially vintage and grower champagne,
Champagne,
some of those
yeah.
geekier wines, people like decanting.
Why would you decant champagne? That doesn't make any sense.
Because you want air in the wine.
Splash
Don't you want the
decant.
bubbles?
Although you couldn't really splash it because then you just...
I don't get it.
Well, you're not pouring. I mean, all the bubbles aren't going away, but the
still
wine
is,
the
yeah.
wine is developing with air. I mean, honestly,
property.
if I open a bottle of champagne, rarely, let's say I'm having it with sushi is a great pairing for champagne.
Right.
You open a bottle of champagne, you're not going to finish the whole thing. You put it in the fridge, open it the next day.
You're talking raw sushi, not like the cooked, fried.
No, yeah, like sashimi.
Like
Yeah,
sushi.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I usually if I put it in the fridge and have it the next day, I sort of like it the second day better. Same with sauternes. Air helps wine, obviously, to a certain extent. Then,
But is it flat? But you put it back in the fridge. You're sticking the cork back in. Is it
not the cork, but
the
stopper.
topper or whatever?
Yeah.
Or is it losing some? But it's losing some of the fizz.
Losing some of the fizz, but not all of it. It keeps pressurized for a day or two, especially in the fridge, especially when you keep things cold. If I open a bottle of red wine, have half the bottle, and I want to have it the next day, often it's better the next day, but I put it in the fridge overnight. And so basically not any preservation besides putting it in the fridge. Obviously, if you're not there to take it out in time, then you're going to be drinking cold red wine.
Olivia Pope the shit out of your glass. What does that mean?
I don't know. Sorry, one more time?
What does that mean? We need another comment from you. I mean, I've watched Scandal, but now I'm not sure. Swirl it?
Swirl it.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
That helps.
What does it mean to Olivia Pope your glass? Do you watch Scandal, Harley? Oh. All right. We'll pick that one up.
Prepared.
We'll
Get back to you
We'll
next
take
time.
that one up next time. A question for you. So we got a 2011 here, and I saw online that this is not really supposed to drink till like 2017.
Right.
So are we drinking this early, and why would we drink it early?
So we're drinking it now because you can drink a wine at any point in its life, and I really feel like if there's something to be enjoyed about any given wine, you probably will find something fascinating about it. At the younger age and the older age, just a different level of enjoyment. This is Vietti. I think is one of the world-class producers here, and really a treat to be able to try it. That's one of the other reasons I opened it, because we just got these wines in stock, the 11 Viettis, and want to imbibe.
So we got an answer. Olivia Poping it means we got to fill all the way to the top or drink straight out of the bottle.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Straight out of a decanter.
There you go. There's how you Olivia Pope an extremely nice Barolo wine.
Heavy pours.
Okay, sorry. Back so we got Vietti.
So this vineyard Rivera was recently bottled as its own designate and got 100 points from Antonio Galloni, which is a rare achievement from him in the 2010 vintage. 2011 is a little bit controversial in the way that 2010 was, but a little opposite. Everyone thinks 2010 is the vintage of the century. 2011 was warm, but still a good vintage, and the wines are much lower priced, but they're being overlooked compared to the stellar 2010. So that's another thing, is that a lot of people really haven't made their mind up about the 2011s. Even though this has huge press, Vietti, the wines across the board, Bernate Roque, Rivera, all get really big press regardless of the vintage. But the other thing is that I think people need to experience and explore 2011 Barolo to really make up their minds. So I think that's why it's crucial to sort of get our hands on these wines, because they don't necessarily scream at you, buy me, but some of the top producers make unforgettable wines. What do you think?
Well, they were talking about, I was reading a little bit on what Coloni had to say about the 2011s, and he's going to say, well, when they originally came out, he was really skeptical, but now he thinks a lot of them are going to be drinking a little earlier and through their whole cycle, whereas, with the 2010s, you just want to let those sit for a while before touching any of them.
So actually, maybe it is a good time.
Yeah.
To try it
I mean,
out.
that's kind of the cool part, right?
Right.
And I think that goes for a lot of 2011s across the board for the world, but definitely for Barolo, he's talking about it'd be good to try these right now and see how they mature into their ideal drinking window. And the fact that they're a little better than the 2009s from what he was talking about.
Yeah. I mean,
Step down, but still above.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are other vintages that I would prefer the 11s to. I think 05 is a similar vintage where the quality's there. It's not like it's a bad vintage or tragic vintage like 2002, for example. But the wines across the board may not reach the heights of some of the other ones.
All right, so we've got a question. The question is this a dry red?
Yes.
Yes.
What's
Dry
not, what
red.
is a not dry red?
Not dry red.
What's an example of that?
Brachetto. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know why. Port.
Port. It's not a dry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a fortified, sweeter.
Yeah, fortified wine could be an example, and there's also like Vindipai, Grenache wines that are not really dry, Bendel, and a lot of other Banyuls. It's made from red varietals. But yeah, this is a red table wine, Barolo. It's made from 100% Nebbiolo. We can't have any other varietals in it, otherwise it doesn't get this pretty little. It used to be pink, but now it's gold
band.
and.
Look
Yeah,
at
the
band.
band, the DOCG
Oh,
band.
it's the
SAJ. Yeah, pull that close.
Let's look at that band.
And
So this is like an official Italian band, right? If you're a Barolo,
Right.
Or if you're using all Nebbiolo, you're getting the official seal of approval with its own. Can't even get that in focus. It's like its own QR code.
yeah. I think this is a beautiful wine. It really, I'm glad we decanted it about 2 hours ago. And it's something that you could probably come back to tomorrow, and it'll be phenomenal. That you could slow ox it, or just
Definitely.
open the bottle, take out a little bit so there's more surface area exposed on the wine. You slow ox it, basically just let it be open for the day. But then again, there's very few people that plan around a wine for, a day or a series of hours. I mean, I don't know what I'm having for dinner tonight. If I were to open a bottle before work, I'd be a little bit of a roll of the dice. But
It's like if you're crock potting something. That's when you
yeah,
do it.
exactly. But still, I mean, this
Not
is
that
a
you
wine.
would,
I would drink this with
Would you drink
barbecue.
this with the crock pot?
I have to go to more barbecue with this, some ribs on the grill.
Yeah.
This is.
It's already. I feel like it's already. It's not as tannic or whatever as I would expect a
Yeah,
Barolo.
it's super soft and
Yeah.
really accessible. I think it doesn't have that. It doesn't have the sort of the pop of the acidity and the brightness that I think it will develop with a little bit of time in bottle. To me, that feels a little closed down, but it's super delicious. And
It's good to go right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I think
can't
that,
wait to drink the rest of the decanter.
that's why you open up younger wines sometimes and put it in the decanter, because this wine has so much to offer. It might have something different to offer down the road, but it's extremely delicious right now, and I think it just shows the class of Vietti, their Rivera parcel.
Definitely, I'd never tried Vietti either, so this is
now our
cool altogether.
Our next question is: Do you feel that is dry a preference for dry wine? Is that an acquired taste, or is it like? What do you think about that question? I mean, it's more about is you dry like a lot of the drier wines. Maybe it's more the character you get right in the wine.
So yeah, it's an
Yeah.
acquired taste, just like anything else is an acquired taste. I think that it's easier to appreciate stuff that has a little more sugar, that has a little more. That's why, for example, one of the wines that everyone really loves is Caymus Cabernet, for example. There's a big sweetness to that, even though it's a dry wine. It's a lot more accessible and understandable. And then when you sort of get into more refined wines, the drier parts of it tend to be a little more attractive. I think that, sugar is delicious, but there's a lot more nuance and refinement to dry reds.
That's where you're going to
As
find
a
like
whole.
more of the expression of like where the wine was grown and the vineyard and the
Yeah,
and
that's the other
winemaker
thing
style,
is
right?
sweetness is just going to cover everything.
It's like turning music up loud.
Right.
All music sounds good loud.
Well,
I'll take your word
most.
for that.
That's a
Most.
that's true. It's an old Hollywood trick. You want to make things sound good, you just turn them up really loud.
That's great. So we have on at Vinfolio, we have in stock availability. I'm sure we get access to more of Vietti's 2011s. We have some back vintage availability. Along with that 100-point score, Galoni has always been a big fan of it. Back to his wine advocate days, so the wines get huge scores, and wines like this are modestly priced, and they have the range of Vietti's wines is one of the most amazing things. They have an entry level Petrobacco. They have a relatively inexpensive cross vineyard blend of Barolo, and then their single vineyard. So they really cover the whole range, and everything they do really speaks to the price point and attention to quality and detail on every level of the wines. And I think this is a shining example. So we have this available.
Get your
Follow us on
2011s,
Twitter.
you can
We're going to
drink
follow up. I'm gonna enjoy this over the next couple hours, and we'll tweet a couple more times about how the wine opens and develops, if there's any left. And again, just a beautiful wine, and I think a proving point that you shouldn't overlook 2011 in Piedmont and Barolo.
Especially now, it's drinking good
Explore.
now.
Don't always trust the drink dates.
There you go.
Thank you.
Hold on a minute, we got one more question.
Oh, one more.
When would you drink this? I always find it's hard to know exactly the right time for Barolo.
That is right.
Which is just kind of what you were saying earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't hurt to try some of these earlier on. 5 years?
Yeah, it's a personal preference. Some people would say that it's sacrilegious to open up a 2011 Barolo right now, but that's how you get to know the wine. That's how you get an idea of it. I really like, for example, right now, I think 04, 06s are drinking beautifully, but I like a little bit younger characteristics in Barolo. Other people might say that 04, 06 is also offensively young and are starting to drink their 90s and 96s. It depends on how deep your cellar is and how much access you have to older wines and where in the lifespan you like. Do you like the primary characteristics of it, secondary characteristics, tertiary? Do you like it fully mature? It depends on your specific preference. If I were to look at this bottle and I'm going to say that the prime drinking range, it is a little tight, it is a little closed down right now. If I had other things to drink while I'm waiting for this, I would say, okay, well, maybe open it in 2018 or 19. But, it depends on your cellar, your palate, your preferences, and no one else can tell you otherwise.
But if you did open it now, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just definitely
Take our word for that one. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Next time. Cheers.